Hey, welcome to Salty Vibes with Heather. Thanks for following my podcast. Today we have part two. My special guest, my oldest son, telling his story. This is the finishing part to it. Definitely an intense story. Some of the struggles that he's gone through. There's been some dark times, but after 2 years, he has healed tremendously and he was willing to talk about his story. I'm really proud of him and how far he's come, and he's just doing so good. And just, I love that we have a loving, supporting family and friends around, and that my son is still here to this day, and that he's here to tell a story. And hopefully, him giving his testimony, telling a story, can help someone else who's struggling in the dark time to reach out for help, to take the steps. There's just a lot that goes with it. Not everything works the same for everybody, so I'm really excited for him to share the story. Also, it is a little tough to tell it and to relive it, but also I think we go through these things of suffering to help others who've gone through it, so we can bring light to a dark time and be a light. And I'm so proud of you, Hunty. I just want you to know your mom loves you so much. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sharing. So please listen to the second part of his story, and we'll be back next week.
And it started off as small little things, and then when I got to the last year or two, I wouldn't sleep because I would be tormented at night. Just there would be times where I didn't know if I was awake or asleep. I didn't know if I was seeing was real or not. I had tried every medicine and drug I could think of that could awaken my inner being, my mind's eye, whatever, to try and solve this. I tried fleeing. I tried everything. I tried looking into different gods, and it just kept getting worse and worse and darker and darker and darker. And I started seeing I had actual like sleep paralysis experiences where I saw demons, and I would feel attacked. I was going to die, and or I'd hear a voice in my head saying that I deserve to die, that I need to atone for everything I've done in this life, and it would manifest as my voice, as family's voices, as friends, or it was a dark voice. And I got to the point where I had tried to overdose on my own insulin to make it look like I would die in my sleep, so my family didn't think that I didn't feel, blame themselves for or something because I ended my life. And I tried that multiple times, and I awoke no matter how much insulin I gave myself. I gave myself doses that should have killed me. And the sleep paralysis or the nightmares or just the experiences, I started calling out in Jesus' name, and I would have to pronounce it with my voice, Jesus Christ. And these things started, I noticed they didn't like this. There was power in this name. I noticed there was I could rebuke them, and they wouldn't torment me at that time. But I wasn't close with God, so I would lapse, and they would come back, and it would get worse again. And I get to the point where ODing isn't working. Let's try a gun. And the first time I tried it, I went out way out into the mountains where me and my brother and my grandpa used to hunt. And I just sat in my car and I made a video on my phone telling everyone how sorry I was and just apologizing and explaining. And then there was another video for myself where I screamed at God and myself and the people that didn't understand in the world and how I hate them and that very selfish way of thinking and talking. And my dog, who I love dearly, who has saved my life ultimately, I had the gun loaded, ready to go, and before I could pull the trigger and just get it over with, my grandma calls it whispering in her ear. She'll kind of chi your ear and lick it and almost talk to you. She wants attention or love or go play outside or whatever. She's a sweetheart. She's a
Best dog ever.
Best dog ever. My and it pulled me out of I was almost in a trance. I felt like, and threw the gun and was just in awe that I almost gave up. It didn't feel real. I was like, oh my goodness, what am I about to do? What did I just almost do? And it was early in the morning. I hadn't slept for over 24 hours, and so I went home and I slept. Tried to get what sleep I could. And as the months went by, I was seeing my counselor. I hit a point in life. I met a girl I really liked, but I was still unhealthy, very unhealthy guy, and a lot. They're all excuses. I don't know. I didn't know how to show love. I didn't. So I just kind of learned to push people away because I didn't want them to experience or feel like I was a burden on them. And that January, I just had just a breakdown and couldn't speak. I called my counselor. I couldn't speak coherent sentences. I thought the feds or something, the cabal, I don't even know, something was out to get me, and I had to flee. And I thought family and friends were in on it, but jumbled. I can complete sentences, and Randy's like, put your brother on the phone, and they took me to the hospital, and I was there for 2 weeks, and it was
The first day you were there in the emergency room, and we all came to see you, and you were really angry.
Yeah. I was in a holding room for 24 hours.
Tell about that guy that was helping.
Oh, the nurse.
Yeah, the nurse.
Yeah, I was feeling that sense, that feeling in my mind that I deserved to be punished or I needed to end my life to pay for everything I had done, I that I deserved it in the most painful way I could imagine. And I thought all I had was, they didn't have anything. They had me on constant guard, but I knew that since I was type 1, I had cord chargers that I could get away with. And so I asked for the nurse for the cord charger to charge my insulin pump. And I was going to strangle myself at night when there's only one nurse, and just get it over with. and one of the nurses asked if I believed in Jesus, if I had read the Bible, if no prior talk, he just seemed like a nice guy, and I don't remember his name. And he's like, I got a show for you, if you'd like. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I wasn't too interested, wasn't close to God. And it was The Chosen. And I never heard about this show. I don't, or no, I had.
We had been watching it.
Yeah, we had
actually.
watched it a few months for Thanksgiving, a couple months actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the. Yeah, so I had known the show and I'd watched the first season, and it actually helped me get into the Bible. I was like, oh wow, this is the story of Jesus. Okay, I'm going to read the New Testament, because for the longest time I couldn't understand the Bible. It just didn't make any sense. I was like, what the heck am I reading? So I started with the New Testament, and that last attack happened, and
I remember when Dad and I and Kenzie came and saw you that first night, and you were in a little ball in the emergency room, and they allowed us to come see you, and your eyes were just empty,
yeah,
dark.
that was when I wanted to.
You
I
didn't
didn't want
want.
you guys to come visit because I wanted to end it. I was
You
like, I
said
don't want him
I
to come in
didn't,
here.
and you're like, I didn't want you to see me like that, Mom. And I just remember it being
Yeah,
really emotional, but you were very, very angry, and Kinsey was able to talk to you, but we really couldn't. And you were angry at your dad, and I think at
yeah,
me
yeah.
and
I had a lot of anger towards
at the
my
world.
my father growing up, and that played into a lot of the anger and hatred I felt, that I felt like the enemy used against me. He knew that could play into it, and I saw my dad there, and I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to see him. I didn't care for him. Um, but I didn't want any of them there because I didn't want him to see me like that. I didn't.
I feel like that was a God thing for that
Well,
nurse to give you that, though, because then 2 days later you called me and you were like, Mom, guess what? When you kind of like snapped out of it and they got you back on track again. And
yeah, well, I got The Chosen. I met some really amazing people in that mental hospital, actually. Like, just when you think about it, you think a bunch of crazies, and you're like, you just don't think much of it as an everyday person. But then you go in there and you experience it, and these people have had some of the worst things happen to them in this life, and you're like, wow. And some of them are still smiling and laughing, and I mean, they're in this place and they're stuck, but then they connect with light, and they almost get life back in them. And almost all of them, whether they didn't believe or they were willing to talk about God with me. And I just really I started reading my Bible every morning and evening. I started drawing, which I enjoy doing. I'm not very good at it. I started reading again, but I also remember I would get bursts of anger and sadness, and get really angry, and I got super mad at you on the phone. I was even more just furious with my father, um and I met a really sweet girl in there, and I made some friends in there, and it was.
I feel like a lot of God things happened
Yeah,
that couple weeks you were
the
there.
nurses were. I mean, the nurses were super amazing, and connected with them, and the attacks just kind of got less powerful. Uh, like they couldn't get to me like they were, and then they started putting me on more medication, and helped for a little bit, I think, or whatever, and then I got released after 2 weeks. and I still didn't. The world just felt so noisy, so chaotic, so angry. I didn't leave the house for barely for a few months, unless my brother was going out. But even then, I would just hide in at my mom's house in her basement. Very minimal contact with any of my friends or family members, and um, just got back into some dark places. And you were talking about, or when were you talking about selling the house? Then
Mm,
it was that summer,
that
actually.
summer, I decided to sell the house.
Yeah,
About 6 months later.
yeah, it was after Mark, because didn't Mark come visit that
Yeah, we had
summer?
Mark
Yeah,
come
my
visit.
Mark, my buddy from Canada, came and visited, and then
You decided to move in with your dad.
yeah, I decided I thought I needed to go live at my dad's. I struggled just with my sister is a very uh, loves people, loves friends, and I was not in a mental spot to have people constantly coming through the house. So I started getting angry, and I just decided by being by myself was better. And then I started working.
You started having you working again. You
Yeah,
worked with
my
Tim.
buddy got me. He was a journeyman electrician working for my dad's electrical company, and I had started as an electrician out of high school at 17, but I hated working for my dad. I felt, I just was a tough. I had a hard time working with type 1. It was just a tough time, so I quit off and on. And he's like, "You should get back into it and just get, back to moving and just see if you can get back into the apprenticeship and maybe finish it." He's like, "Having your journeyman would be a nice thing to have. You're still super young." So got me back into working that August, and yeah, started back in as an electrician. Got back into just I really started getting into the word, and I finished.
I think you working with Tim really helped.
Yeah, I worked. Yeah,
You worked
Tim
with Tim
was
too.
yeah, that was the year before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked for a
That's
mechanic as his
You had all
helper.
these godly people come in your life who were
Yeah,
speaking life to you to help you know where you wanted to go, even though you were struggling. I think that really
yeah, a lot
helped.
of people placed in my life that just kind of I I met a pastor in Oahu named Shane. Oh, I can't remember his last name. Shane Koolani, but he runs a church. He's from Big Island, and he has a testimony of his own. But he told me he didn't believe in luck or coincidences. He says it all comes from God, and I'm like, what are you talking about? What the heck? And then as I got closer in the Word and meeting godly people, I was like, okay, I can see what just all these experiences through life, and I was like, okay, God is real. There is power in Jesus' name, and there are people that are put in your life for certain reasons, and sometimes they don't stay. Sometimes they're just lessons. But I yeah, Tim was a fundamental in just helping me see God. Uh, Amazing dude. Andrew, that nurse, just a lot of amazing people that God put in my life, and it's nothing I did. I mean, it was all God's doing.
And so we fast forward to now, and
Yeah, I've been
it's
working
been
for steadily for a year and a half. I haven't been on any medication for it was 3 years since the hospital, so it's been like 2 years medication free,
Mhm.
nothing. I don't rely on substances like I did. I mean, an occasional drink with like you guys in Costa Rica, but I can't stand that. That stuff brings me from God. And yeah, I mean, I have a different mindset on diabetes, which was radical, because I blamed everybody else. I had a victim mindset on it. I had a victim mindset about a lot of stuff. And just meeting and connecting with people that had just amazing testimonies and just horrible experiences in life, and yet they are they didn't let it bitter, or yeah, make them bitter. They became a better person. They just amazing. They want to help people, and I'm like, okay, I don't have to become like the rest of the world. I can grow from these things. I can be kind and loving and merciful towards people, and I just seeing the world, I'm like, okay, the world needs more of that, even if it's just me. I mean, I'm not going to change the whole world, but I can change my small part of it with certain people, the close people around me, family and friends.
And you're telling your story is like a really important part because a lot of people, more so than we even know, especially you got experience in the hospital, like who've gone through this stuff. And I think we're getting more and more people talking about mental health with men and things that we have to be strong because you kind of had a dad who
Yeah,
you got to be
yeah.
tough. You
Don't
can't be
cry, grow
emotional.
up, you're a sissy. Men don't cry. All, just normal man stuff. It's just part of growing up, and I was taught to fear him, and
And so you're
um,
telling your story can help some, at
yeah,
least even just one
I tell
person.
I want my story to, if it helps someone or resonates with someone, then so be it. But if it's just out there, it's out there.
So I have a couple questions I'll ask you and you can kind of answer. And then if you want to say something looks like you're looking up something. So if you woke up tomorrow and a miracle happened, what would be the first thing you notice to tell that your life has changed for the better?
If I woke up and what?
So let's say you woke up tomorrow and a miracle has happened. What would be the first thing you notice that you would tell you your life has changed for the better? I know a miracle you would want to have happen.
What's that miracle?
Not be type 1 diabetic.
Yeah, yeah.
And you,
I think though, my dad, out of all people, I was amazed. He's grown a lot too. But he asked me. We went out. I work out in the villages out in Alaska, and we were out in Bethel. And he asked me a really good question. He asked me, "Would you have been able to humble yourself and come to God if you did not get to experience, these things or have type 1?" And I thought about it for a minute, and I'm like, no, I would have been a partier. I would have been like my dad, and I wouldn't have been humbled until later in life, till he's in his 50s now,
mhm.
and he's just now being humbled and realizing, okay, life's not all about just things and attention from people. It's family, it's loving one another, it's serving one another, it's loving God above all, and not being afraid of things on this earth. It's everything comes after God, and that's a tough thing to grasp when it's all about just you, kind of selfish thinking, and people, it's kind of backwards to some people. Why would I love God more than everything else? Things that I need, food, money, family, and those things are all amazing. They're all gifts from God, but everything comes from God. So that's where that comes from. So I speaking of miracles, I that a godly miracle was that wreck I got in 3 months ago.
Mhm. Quite a few miracles in that.
I've had quite a few miracles that are from God, and I my dog surviving that wreck.
And you and all your friends.
Well, and all me and all my friends with minor injuries after sliding into oncoming traffic. We should have not survived that wreck, and we all walked away. Besides one friend, but he's all right. He's besides foot surgery, we're all good. So yeah, I have a lot of thanks. I have a lot to be thankful for, and especially thankful towards God, towards his son's sacrifice on that cross for me, and just to be able to recognize that and get in the word and realize, yeah, there's a lot of trials and tribulations and suffering in this world, but there's also a lot of beauty in it. There's a lot of beautiful people, amazing people, and we're meant to be there for each other. And you're not taught that in the world nowadays. It's all about self, and social media and the news. It all does a great job of dividing every single person and causing a lot of hate. But you leave the internet and you see people, and it's not all bad. There is a lot of, like I keep saying, there's a lot of good people. And if it was all bad, like it all says, you would see there is a lot of chaos in this world, but you would see a lot more.
It's like coming to another country and you just see these people are happy and friendly.
I'm in Costa Rica right now, and the locals and the tourists are all. I haven't met a single mean, angry person. They're all very friendly and loving and hospitable. And there's angry people out there, but a lot of them are just people with a lot of wounds, and they don't know how to heal, or they don't want to, not yet.
Mm-hmm. So before you read your verse here, I got one more question to ask you. So let's look at if you had unlimited resources and support, what is something you would want to do differently to create a life that you desire? Because I know you have a lot of desires in life and want to make some changes.
Yeah.
So let's say you had everything that you wanted fell into place. What would you do to get the life that you really, really want, that you're desiring?
Well, I know my wants are, some of them are different than what God wants for my life. I've had to learn that, and I learn it daily. I get course corrections, but I would want to serve people. I'd want to help people. But I'd love to travel the world doing that. And I either starting a business or ministry and sharing my testimony, what has helped me, and that it's open to them freely through the sacrifice of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And they can take it, or they don't have to. It's not forced upon them. And I would love to go see. I love seeing other cultures, so I'd go do that in other places of the world, and back home in Alaska and in America. So yeah.
I think that's an awesome dream. I think you're gonna be able to get to do it too, because you're working towards that. You've been working on yourself. So do you want to read something to close this out today?
Yeah, I was looking.
So we can talk a little bit about, like, so let's say 1 year from now and you're where you want to be and you're doing your ministry, where do you think you would start out your ministry at, like your first place?
My thought is Hawaii.
Yeah, 'cause you've always had a love
I
for
love Hawaii. It's been a big part of my life. there's been a lot of good and there's been a lot of bad there, but more so good. I But I don't know if that's where God wants me. I feel a pull there,
Yeah.
so I think that might be it.
I feel like when we have pulls towards something, it's usually a reason.
Well, and there's a lot of things that are kind of lining up where that could work out over on the big island of Hawaii.
Well, it'll be really cool to come back and see. We could do this again sometime and talk about more of like healing and what you've been going through, and if your ministry, starts in Hawaii or wherever. But I think you just telling your story and like things like this is a big start because it's hard to talk about. We've all been through it, and sometimes it's like I feel like we try to brush it off and make it like,
Yeah,
that sucked. That was about. But when we really like, it's a dark time for all of us.
yeah, and
I mean,
everyone goes through it, whether
we
you
do.
think it or not, or whether you well, mine's not as bad as their story. It doesn't matter. We get put through these things, and in this broken world, we're supposed to be down in the mud in the trenches with these people and feel empathy for them, but not in a bad way where we take it on ourselves and only ourselves, and we get pulled down by it. It's supposed to be shared, and we're supposed to share our experience with the people around us. And comparison, that kills a lot of joy. It kills the path that you're set on by God. It kills, you become envious, you become jealous, and your life is so much more different than that person on a screen, or that person you meet, and you do matter, and you each person has an amazing story. And it just gets twisted. This world is broken. It says it in the very beginning. Mankind chose sin over God, and we like to blame God for that, but that's the cost of free will.
Right.
It wouldn't be love without free will. So if you really get into the story of Jesus, it is an amazing story of redemption and love for us. And a lot of people get caught up on certain aspects of the Bible, or other religions, but it's not about a religion. It's about a relationship. And God came down in the flesh for me and you, died on a cross, and one of the most excruciating deaths imaginable for you and I, which you can't. To die for one is the ultimate sacrifice, ultimate love. So he isn't comparable to anything else, and that is what pulled me. The enemy doesn't have power. He thinks he does, but God is his creator, and he was banished. So yeah, I don't know. I was looking at Ephesians.
3:20 is really good. You can just say a quick little verse.
3:20?
Yeah, Ephesians 3:20.
Let's see here, 3:20,
I always
3:11.
like that one.
Ephesians 3:20.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
We got an adventure tomorrow.
Yeah, we got to be up early. This lasted a little longer. Now, so yeah, Ephesians 3:20. Now to him who is able to do immeasurable more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us, to him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen.
I feel like that goes really good with what you kind of talking about.
Yeah.
You want to go out in the world and you're going to do it through God. So
yeah, it's all glory to God. You really have to humble yourself, which is extremely difficult, but it's not impossible.
I mean, you have come a long way in the last couple years, and I'm just really grateful that we get to do this trip as a family, and I'm thankful that you agreed to tell your story today on the podcast. I know it's a hard thing to sometimes talk about, but I appreciate it, and I love you so much, and I figure it's best coming from you than me talking about it on my own, because sometimes I'm like, I want to say things, but
Yeah,
It's not my story to tell. It's your story to tell.
I've talked about it a little bit with certain people, and even then that was just a brisk, quick, compact, and that still took a while.
Yeah.
I just kind of I can kind of drone on about stuff. I love
There's
talking.
lots of details, but you're
There's lots of details, and there's a lot I didn't talk about, but you got the little gist of the story, yeah. And ultimately, it's not about all about my story. It's about how I was saved by Jesus Christ and that darkness.
Exactly.
That's what I want to yeah.
How you overcome darkness.
That's the point of this story.
Taking your life, and I'm very glad to have my firstborn here.
I'm glad to be here. I'm in Costa Rica. It's beautiful. I'm here with my loved ones, my family, and
great time together.
Yeah,
it's been a blast.
Yeah, you can see God's creation everywhere. You just got to look.
Well, I love you, and I thank you for being on my podcast today.
Yeah, love you too.
All right, thanks for following my podcast, Salty Vibes. You can click my links below, and thanks for subscribing. Have a great week.
Adios.